Sustainability, I feel, is the #1 priority for our city right now. We have great historical buildings that have been ignored, have been sold to the wrong investors because we weren't looking out for the best interest of the entire city. We also asked the city to vote on, and the residents to vote on, things like height restrictions, and then we turn around and say, sorry, can't do it, thanks for your vote though, that was awesome. We love to ask your opinion, but then we decide that we don't want your opinion, but we want to have some kind of say. I do not want to talk about planning and zoning and increasing height limitations on Bryant Park. The residents don't want it, they've spoke loud and clear. They don't want a density increase and they don't want height limitations increased. I will tell you this, that I believe in public outreach in regards to every department. You have to talk to the people who pay the bills, who invest in this community, and who make the community. Because without them, when they all pack up and leave, what do you have? You have an empty town, because you're not listening to the voters. That's what I intend to do on all platforms. Thank you.
Well, I think I'll try to answer that question. There was a time, as the mayor said earlier, when there was a great deal of uncertainty as to what you could do with your property. In fact, in years gone by, if you saw any development at all, we probably gave you an exception because we're just doggone glad that you were actually building something in Lake Worth, which is, I think, a big reason why we have such a hodgepodge of crazy buildings and weird and funky compatibilities. However, as the mayor said, we did spend a number of years bickering back and forth on what to do with the LDRs. We finally adopted them, and we also the future land use map that's also been adopted. Those two documents are working much better together today than they ever did before, and folks are now having a great more confidence level in what they can actually do with their property. So I think that we're okay on those two documents. I will also want to remind you that we did lower the heights with our LDRs. And we also factored in compatibility throughout the city to make sure that nobody had a monstrosity next to their cottage. The only thing I would say that needs to be changed, or not changed, but looked at, and that would be the charter. I think it's time for a charter review. I think we need to go back and just kind of pick that document apart. I don't think it's been touched probably in 50 years or more. So I think a good exercise on our part would take a hard look at the charter going forward and see if there's any improvements that can be made. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is going to be a 30-second question. We're going to start with you, Sarah Malika. We're going to come down to Amtriolo, finish up with Scott Maxwell. Oh, someone seems almost like they must have read this question. Follow-up. When should we revise the city charter? Last revised in 1987, 40 years ago, and how? Sarah Malika.
Well, it's funny, you just said that you tied those two questions in that answer together. Obviously, if we're going to make any progress, we need to pull out the charter and we need to reassess what the boundaries are and the ways that we can improve and bring in more and take out what needs to be taken out. I do believe, again, though, that we need to have public input on everything that we do in this city. We can't just make decisions as electeds because you are the ones who put the electeds up here. So it's you that we have to answer to.
I think we need to look at it soon. I think that's the easy answer to it. We've gone through all the other documents. Every city, every department in the city was a house missing a foundation when I got here 6.5 years ago. We've had to create all the policy, rules, procedures, ordinances, put everything in place in the first couple of years. So this is just one thing on the list and we're ready to do it. And remember, we are your elected officials. We also have to follow the law of the state of Florida too when we make our decisions. We can't do anything illegal as well. Thank you.
I'd like to see the city charter say that the beach must always be public. That we will not ever sell any parkland in the city. I think that's very important. And I think if we're going to become a sustainable city and we're going to talk about being 100% renewable, that we could at least begin to think about putting that goal into the city charter. I think that's the type of thing we can talk about. However, we have to remember the city charter is a document and it still has to always be a living document.
Thank you. Scott Maxwell.
Thank you. I won't take nearly as much time on this because obviously I answered my last round, but yes, the charter review is definitely necessary. We've actually annexed property into the city over the years and there's just a lot of little tweaks that we could do to improve that document. As far as the comment that was recently made about the beach, I think we all know, if you're honest with yourselves, there is no way that the city can sell any grain of sand on that beach. It is impossible to do. Somebody comes to the board and says we're going to sell the beach, tell them they're a bold-faced liar.
going to start with Pam Triolo, go to Sir Malega, come back up the line, finish with Drew Martin. It's a 1-minute question. Topic is parking. 1 minute. Question 9. There is currently a feasibility study being performed for a parking garage that would be built downtown. Do you think this is a good idea? I guess whether you like the parking or the feasibility study. How would you fund the capital cost of the garage? Would you favor parking meters downtown? Andrew?
No, I'm not in favor of parking meters downtown at all. I like the fact that we have free parking downtown, and I think we're still building our downtown community. We don't need to create any other obstacles to preventing business in our downtown right now. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. As for the parking, this is something that's kind of one of those little thorns in my side because I've been asking for parking for 5.5 years right now, and I was told initially there was no feasibility study that there wasn't enough critical mass yet for the downtown, and yet every time I try to go have dinner on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, I can't find a parking space anywhere near downtown, and I circle around and around. I was a proponent of purchasing surface lots that were available around the city first before we even embarked onto a parking garage, but I look forward like anything to see the feasibility study. We need parking yesterday.
As a downtown business owner, I am opposed to parking meters. I actually have some parking spots that I pay extra rent for, but it's awesome, so we have some parking for our clients. I would say before we look at doing a parking garage, we need to take back the parking lot that's on Lucerne behind the pizza place that was sold to a private individual that nobody uses. We need to figure out a way to get people to park on the Dixie Highway parking lot that the city and the CRA have on Dixie Highway near 7th Avenue and provide transportation from that lot to downtown. Maybe we need to encourage a small business to come in and provide little trolley service or the little downtown runners like West Palm has, but let's utilize the spaces that we already have before we start thinking about building something in the middle of the town that's just going to ultimately cost us money. We have empty spaces, empty lots. Let's figure out a way to use them and get people downtown using our city.
John, this was a 2-minute question?
This is a 1-minute
1 minute,
question.
okay. First of all, I am very much opposed to parking meters downtown. I've fought against that in the years past, and I'll continue to do so. It is possible to have no parking meters and a parking garage that is free. And yet, you say, how can you do that? Well, I've actually seen it in action. In Winter Garden, they actually have a parking garage where you can park for free. What they do is they actually ticket the shop owners and the employees of the shop owners if they park in the street. You follow me? The logic is, they don't have any metered parking downtown. They want those parking spots to be available to the customers, but they also provide this free parking garage. And you will fund that by having a mixed-use parking garage. Perhaps you have some shops, or maybe even some residential in that parking garage, and you finance it through a revenue bond, which is of zero cost to the taxpayer. Thank you.
Thank you. Martin.
I'm opposed to parking meters and I'm opposed to a parking garage. I would like to see more bicycle parking downtown. I ride a bicycle downtown and I'm not taking up a parking space, but I have trouble finding a place to park my bike near many of the restaurants. I also would like to see parking for electric vehicles and possibly encourage people to ride small vehicles downtown. Maybe we can encourage people to ride golf carts from some of the neighborhoods that would take up less parking. I also would agree with Sarah. I think we need to buy that property back. And by the way, I was at the commission that night and opposed the sale. And we actually also beat back the attempt to sell the parking lot across from the post office. And we won that by getting one commissioner not to go along with it. And that was a tough battle. So let's not sell the existing parking lots. And I agree with the mayor. If we can find parking lots that we can buy, we should be purchasing those lots as well.
We're going to start with Pam Triolo. We'll just go straight down the line with this one. Question number 10 is a 2-minute question. The pool and the beach is the topic. Is it important to save the pool as is, modify it in some way, or eliminate it entirely? We have 2 minutes to discuss this.
Thank you for letting it be 2 minutes and not 1. As many of you I hope know, first of all, I didn't do any of the planning of the beach casino project. It was done by a previous commission before I got there. It was my job, though, to get it open, because the city at the time was in default of accepting a $6 million check from the county that was helping to pay for the casino building, but for some reason, our city didn't accept the check. Not once, but twice. So one of my first jobs was to beg and call the county commission and try to get those checks in because they had not, we were actually in danger of losing that money. And also to put together a business plan to try to figure out how we were going to create enough revenue to actually support that. We're still working on that. Also, I hope you all know that I'm probably one of the loudest, most vocal people about getting the pool open. I don't know if anyone knows, especially if you're new to the community, the pool was closed down for 3 years by the prior commission, not by me. I actually opened the pool. I was in favor of enhancing maybe some of the things around the pool to provide a healthier environment, give people and their families stuff to do around the pool, until we found out that the pool had some serious infrastructure issues. I would be in favor, I'm totally in favor of opening the pool again. I'd be in favor of looking at maybe a version that still pays tribute to the people that like to do more traditional things in the pool and offers a few more amenities, maybe some food or beverage options around there that can be, you know, I've seen the neighborhood associations do their pool parties, and having something like that on a more permanent basis. I love the pool. I've actually used the pool many times, and I'm a big fan. I think we've got to get it open. It's not one of those things that has to make money. You know, this is an amenity, but it would be helpful if it actually made some income and could help and contribute to the business model, because the casino business model is not strong at this point. We need more business. We need to get those flooding conditions done on the upstairs. We need to get new tenants in, and the amount of businesses that were supposed to be in there and kiosks and fun things happening around that building never happened. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am a strong proponent of reopening the pool, and I don't understand why the pool had to be closed. And if there were leaks, because when I came here, I used to use the pool all the time, and it seemed in pretty good condition. In fact, what we wanted to do was get the locker rooms cleaned up, because that was really where there was a problem, not the pool itself. I like the way the pool is, and there's a possibility to look at partnering with the school district, because that pool was originally used for swim meets. I think we could also get private donations. I think the pool is in many ways more important than the casino. And people talk about weddings. Well, why don't you have a poolside wedding? I think that's a great idea. We can have events along the pool. So I think it's more important to get that pool open than anything else. Also, when there's riptides, when there's jellyfish, families need to be able to go to that pool. It's a place for swimming lessons. Seniors used to use the pool in the morning for exercise aerobics. So absolutely, let's get that pool going, and let's figure out why it's not. I'm worried that some of the construction that was done caused that pool to be damaged. Because I don't understand why that pool, basically when I used to go there, seemed to be in perfectly good condition, and why suddenly that pool was not in good condition and could not be used. So I'd like to understand why that is. I also oppose putting a water park at the pool or turning it into any kind of a public-private ownership. It needs to be a public pool, and we need to have days when it's open to the public, and we might even think about giving free days to get people up there.
Thank you. Scott Maxwell.
Thank you. As many of you may or may not know, when the beach casino building was rebuilt, we actually took the activities on the beach and created its own fund with the idea that that fund would be self-sufficient, financially self-sufficient. Unfortunately, we found out that that wasn't the case because there were some errors, if you will, in how we planned for the financial income of that property. And one of the things they completely forgot to include into that plan was the cost to operate the pool. Okay, they somehow didn't quite make the plan. And the pool is losing $200,000 or $300,000 a year. So you take that number on top of a failed business model for the casino building itself, it's not a real good economic situation. It would be wonderful if we could open a pool. It would be great to have a pool, but let's be honest, times have changed. When that pool was built, there weren't as many swimming pools out there as we have today. There weren't as many options for things to do things, for people to do things, different things than they are today. I'm all in favor of this, looking forward to the study that we're currently undertaking to see what could be done with that pool. I think if it's at all possible, we should try to find something we can do that's going to have a water feature, if you will, up at the pool, so folks have an alternative to the beach, as Drew said, with respect to ocean currents and jellyfish and everything else. So let's see, that's it, pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you. Certainly.
I love this question. I'm a huge advocate for the pool. I use the pool. But however, me being self-employed, the pool was open sometimes 4 hours a day, so I had to reschedule my entire day to make sure that I could get there for the 4 hours that somebody was actually at the pool. But I made it work because I was fighting back surgery and I wanted to make sure that I was being able to use the pool. So being self-employed, it was hard for me. The pool is a business within a business, and not all parts of business will make money at every time. There's not any pool in North America that makes revenue, that makes money, that's always on the positive side. You have to invest in keeping people here and keeping people coming into the city. It is an amenity. Not all of us have pools. Not all of us are rich enough or wealthy enough or have enough room on our land to have a pool. The pool is a great asset. What we need to do is focus on paying our lifeguards more, so we get good lifeguards, opening the pool longer hours, building a grill and a food source, as the mayor had said, inside the pool to keep people in the pool. But before we do all that, knock down the wall, put up a plexiglass wall so people know that there's a pool back there, that they have an option when they come to the beach, that they can use the pool. They can sit at the pool and see the ocean. There's a concept. You have pools that are successful in hotels up and down the Florida coast. Why are we missing the mark? We're missing the mark because we want to miss the mark. It's not a priority. It needs to be a priority. It brings people to the city. It keeps people at the beach. I like the beach. I don't want to go in the ocean all the time. It's a great alternative. We did have a great event there with the Napc. We thought we were going to be on the upswing. We thought this would show the commissioners that people want to use the pool, and it's a great asset. But remember, some of the people up here voted to close the pool. I'm going to do everything to find the money to get the pool open and keep it open, because I am a business owner and I think like one.
All right, Drew, we're going to pick on you to start again. And we'll come back to Camtrello. We'll finish up with Scott Maxwell.
You did that last time.
Did I do that? No, it seemed like last time, but it wasn't. I'm trying to get it so we finish on an opposite way than we start. So, to try to make that fair. It's still on the pool and the beach. It's a 2-minute question. And question 11. What is your vision for usage of the upstairs vacant space of the casino complex for the benefit of the city? And it starts with Drew Martin.
Well, I was told that there's a room for a restaurant up there. It seems to me that a restaurant that looks out on the water would be a pretty easy sell in South Florida. In fact, when I came here, I was always looking for a place to eat that looked out on the water. And surprisingly, there aren't that many restaurants that look on the water, so it seemed to me that that would be an easy sell, that we could put a restaurant up there that would have a water view. And I'm not sure why that is so complicated to get somebody to lease that. I don't know if it's because it doesn't have the proper facilities, or we don't have the right lease price, because I just can't believe that there's no business person out there that would do that. So that would be my focus. Now, I think we need to make sure there's not a roof leak and water leaks in the building, because I understand that that may be part of the problem, that there are some leaks in the structure. So that needs to be prepared. One thing we have to always remember is a 2-story casino is always at risk during a hurricane. And we might want, at some point, to kind of open that up a little bit so the wind blows through it, and that would make it more likely to survive a hurricane, because you get a category 5 or something, that casino's going to be at risk. I would also like to put solar panels on the roof up there. That might reduce the cost of the cost of the utility for anybody who goes there, and then have a nice view of a beautiful pool. And I like Sarah's idea of the plexiglass. I thought that was a really nice idea. I think we want to use that view of the pool, because when I stayed in a hotel down in Miami, there's a beautiful hotel down there that has a beautiful view of the pool, and that's so you can look out one window and see the ocean, and look out the other window and see the pool. I think that would be a great selling point. So that is what I vision as what you would do up there, assuming that the building can handle it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure, of course. Question 11. What is your vision for usage of the upstairs vacant space of the casino complex for the benefit of the city?
I have probably showed that more than some realtors in town. I love the space. Fact, item number 1. The reason it hasn't been leased is because we have been in litigation for the last 4 years since we opened it, because it leaks. Half the fixtures started to rust, and water was coming in the ballroom. It completely destroyed the wood floors, and the ballroom had to be redone. The water pours into that empty space, and we haven't been able to lease it because we've had to deal with the flooding problems. What happened is that the deck itself on the second floor, it was constructed improperly, and we've literally brought in experts. Well, we've had the builders bring in experts, as we avoid litigation and get this thing remedied. But in the meantime, they have come up with 3 or 4 different solutions, the first of which didn't work. The last one looks to be working. If you go up there today, you'll see they're testing out and installing different sections of it. So it looks like this might be good at this point. We'll be able to lease that spot. It's not for anyone not being able to try. It's the fact that we can't lease a space that leaks, number one. The other thing too, while I like the idea of the plexiglass that my opponent just mentioned, people don't realize that building right there and the pool building is on the coastal construction line. We were told by the architects that came in that the buildings on the front are in good condition, the buildings on the backside are not in good condition. That's basically the pool house that fell onto some of our lifeguards' head that was destroyed and was coming down. So there are things that definitely have to be addressed at that pool building. If we take down that building on the front and replace it with plexiglass, the problem is you'll never be able to build there again. So if you want to use that, maybe wedding space, party space, maybe lifeguards having a real office to work out of, or staff employees actually having an office that they can report to, not an empty, leaky, empty ballroom. Thank you.
Sir Malika.
I'm a firm believer if you do it right the first time, you don't have to keep going back to the drawing board, which is what I did when I opened the zoo gym in 2010. I wrote a business plan, I stuck to the business plan, and we're still open today in Lake Worth where people thought that we would close. There are many things that you can do at the top once it's structurally safe, as the mayor had said. The Zoo Health Club that I own actually started in a beach on the top floor in Fort Lauderdale overlooking the ocean. Not that I would want to move my place there because parking would probably be an issue. However, I think that there are a lot of great places that we can reach out to. If we had a Department of Tourism right now or a tourist board, they could be promoting that space so we could have more weddings, more graduations, and we could be bringing in revenue while we're addressing these issues. It is a great space once it is up and safe. I'm sure that we will be very choosy on who we let come in there, making sure they have a solid, sound business plan, the finances to carry through, and we're not just going to let somebody walk in and be set up for failure so they're just shutting the doors 12 months later.
Scott Maxwell.
Thank you, John. Well, many of you probably know that I wasn't terribly fond of the way the building was constructed to begin with. And I have fought with my colleagues, figuratively speaking, over the years to force litigation upon the contractor and or the architect, the engineers, whoever else. And for whatever reason, I wasn't able to muster 3 votes to make that happen. So here we are, as the Mayor Pam explained just a few minutes ago, it's stuck in a process where they're trying to fix the design flaws. And in simple terms, the design flaw they're trying to fix now, and stay with me on this one. Now, I'm not a contractor, I'm not an engineer, but if I'm going to build something that the water's supposed to flow from, I'm going to have it built this way and not this way into the building. And apparently that's what happened. And of course, the contractor and the engineer and the architect are doing this. Okay, nobody seems to want to take responsibility for that. So first of all, we have to deal with the design flaws. And I'm not happy with the fix that's been proposed, but that's what we have to live with. Once that fix is put in place, we have to pray that it will actually take and last for a very long time, and that we have 2 options. Number one, we can look for a tenant to take that space. I do believe there is a tenant out there somewhere that would love to have a second floor beach view. The other option would be to take both spaces, the existing casino ballroom and that space, and turn it into a true banquet facility. Because as you know, we don't have the proper kitchen facilities to do the banquets that people are bringing in now. So I think those would be our best 2 options. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we do our final question and our closings, John Faust.
Thank you.
Mary Lindsay.
Mary Lindsay, come on out. Put your hands together. Our Chair Emeritus for life. Presidents and future presidents, save the paperwork. Because the behind the scenes for this and the great taste, we had to pull Mary out of a little free library because that's all she's all about right now. Anyways, Mary's gonna, we had a generous, here, Mary, talk.
Thank you, John. You all are just the most amazing neighbors in the most incredible city. Unbelievable. You know what you all did tonight? The most we have ever raised when we passed the baskets for the Playhouse after one of these candidates' forums was last year, and the total was $287. Guess what it is tonight? Who thinks it's 400? I can't see hands because the house lights are down. Do I hear 500? Do I hear 550, 575? How about $602.50? On top of that, well, not on top of that, but $300 of that came from one organization in the city, and they asked that they not be named, but we want to say thank you, Peggy. $602.50, and we know that the Playhouse is going to put it to good use. Thank you, everybody. You were all very most generous. Take a vote, leave a vote.
All right. So one thing, John's going to go into last question and then closing statements. I think there's 30-something questions altogether. So Monday night, golf course, South Palm Park hosting. Come listen to the other questions or bring your own questions. Thank you, John Paxman. Of course, candidates, now that you know that we're like in the final minutes, I guess you could all grab your rebuttal cards and force an extra minute into the program. Once again, I want to thank the Playhouse. Please put your hand together for the Playhouse. Keep that going for the timers. This is a bad job, but they did a great job. I'm watching them go up, and I couldn't do that. It's not going to happen.
Best seat, worst view.
Yes. State of the City tomorrow, Great Taste in 3 weeks, Garlic Festival this Friday. Check with Richard if you want to volunteer or ride on a bus. And I think that's it. John, finish the evening for us, please.
All right. We used 12 of your questions as of this question, which is the final.